Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, the Honorable Jorien White. Sharmina Powell-Richardson, Chairperson of the Steering Committee of the Reposition and Strengthening Public Education. Susan Afias, Chairperson of the Committee Evaluate Teaching Profession. Theo Telting, the Consultant of Repositioning Project, and Mrs. Claire Elshot, the President of the Windward Islands Teachers Union. Members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm Roleika Roach at the Department of Communication, and on behalf of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, I welcome you to today's press conference on the establishment of the Steering Committee and on the strengthening of the repositioning of public education. For more on this subject matter, I invite the Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, the Honorable Jorien White, to address you. Minister White.
Good afternoon to the members of the press, those listening in. Thank you, Mrs. Roach. And indeed, it's my honor and pleasure to welcome you to this press conference, members of the media, and indeed introduce or reiterate actually the introduction of those here on the panel table. Welcome to, of course, the President of the Windward Island Teachers Union, Mrs. Claire Elshot. It's my pleasure that you joined us here on the table. And also a special guest, our consultant, Mr. Theo Telting. And of course, two colleagues of the Ministry, Mrs. Susan Afias and Secretary General Sharmina Powell. Good afternoon once more. We indeed thought it was informative to arrange a press conference for two critical developments and initiatives that I indeed supported and consulted about with the Windward Island Teachers Union. One was an initiative that related also to a consultation and a meeting that we've held with the President of the Windward Island Teachers Union, the WITU, in January, February, where indeed various matters were highlighted related to the teaching profession. Matters related to their compensation, matters related to their pension age and the increase of the pension age and how that would impact their career development of a very, very, very vital group in our society, as we've witnessed also post-Irma, the challenges that we've seen in reopening of the schools and indeed important role that teachers have for our student populations and youth. So all those type of matters were discussed and throughout the previous months, and we came to an important conclusion and agreement. And one that we would like to indeed highlight during this press conference is the establishment of a committee to indeed review these critical matters, as I just mentioned, for the teaching profession. And it is a committee established last week, will be chaired by Mrs. Susan Afias, Policy Advisor of the Staff Bureau of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, supported with members of the WITU and also members of the Department of Education, as well as representatives of school board. The intention is to have the committee indeed with a lifespan of approximately 9 months, with a variety of very critical advices that will be presented to the Ministry and also to the Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport. First of all, we have to indeed recognize that the salary scheme was established over 10 years ago and was a critical result of consultations held with the social partner, and that also is necessary to recognize that you evaluate such a salary scheme on a regular basis. So that's one component of an assignment of this advisory committee. An additional component, of course, is associated with indeed career perspectives. If we increase the pension age, to what extent is that beneficial, helpful for the teaching profession? Should that be reconsidered, adjusted? And what can we do to indeed promote the value of this critical position, profession within our society, to avoid that we have indeed a shortage and that we promote therefore the availability of local teachers within our country. So those are critical, vital elements of the committee, and we deemed it indeed very important that we recognize this partnership with social partner, the WITU, and it's something that I would like to also observe as something that I dare take dearly from the benefit of our consultations. And I would also therefore, first of all, would like to allow the president of the Y2 to share her ideas of the establishment of this committee, and also maybe give some context related to the vitality of this committee. Mrs. Elshot.
Thank you, Minister, for giving me this opportunity. And again, good afternoon to all. It is indeed a real honor to be here today to share with the general public, and not only with the public, I hope also with my members would also be aware of this development that it has taken place, and therefore that they would see the benefit, and they would then realize that the number of complaints that have been taking place over the years after the re-establishment or the introduction of new scales have not gone on deaf ears by the Y2. The main reason was that actually we did get new scales in 2008, but because of the time constraint, it was actually the civil servants scales that the teachers was just like put in and squeeze into a certain bracket. So after evaluating, after 10 years, you can find that a number of, as we would say, the child sicknesses are coming out now, and things that we stood up for prior to getting these new scales, they are coming back in, even in a different scenario, because one of the main reasons why we were actually looking for a new type of salary system is because at age 38 was the freezing point of all teachers. Now from 38 to 60, which was pension age at that time, it would actually mean that you have to work 22 years without any forms of increase to your salary structurally within your career path. So therefore, with this new salary scale and the introduction, everything was going smoothly until a number of teachers reached to their grade 20 in their scale, and they realized that their boards are not carrying them over to the next scale and really, fitting them into the place where they have to fit. So it is a kind of pseudo, like what you would say, a kind of freeze again that is being applied, and even worse because some of them are now frozen before 38. With the old scales, it was structurally at age 38. Now it can variate. It all depends on the teacher, their age, and when they actually transfer from the old scales to the new scales. So this was not a good development. This is not also what it was about. Basically, given the opportunity at that time to create new scales, it was also to be able to enhance the different career paths within the teaching profession. The scales were outdated and therefore did not encap a number of professions that you had within the current system. For example, at that time, remedial teachers, they were nowhere in a scale, so everybody could just, put you somewhere with the special ed teachers scale, etc. And with that, there were a number of careers that also became very vital within a school in the modern day scenarios, like you had social workers now that can be placed within the schools. You had the school nurse. You also had, for example, the student care coordinator, and all those persons that had to deal with the innovations that were taking place within the school system and within the secondary and elementary education. So this was actually a very positive development at that time. But now, 10 years later, we really need to look, evaluate, and continue to be able to provide what is needed for the teaching profession. The good old saying is, only who is in the kitchen knows the heat. So we are very grateful that our Minister Jorien Wuyter, has also responded to the call after having a number of meetings to establish this committee where the broad base would also come from different school boards, because, you know, the elementary schools are a little differently make up from secondary schools, but it is very important that you have the input of everyone in this process, so that once it is established, an advice has been created, the advice is written, that we can move forward smoothly without any type of, protest, or even people felt that this should have been different, and you lose a lot of time. So as social partners, being part of a committee is very important. So we are looking forward to the input and also to the very active participation of the different school boards to make this part a success, because everything has to be in balance so that we can therefore move forward. Unless we have that type of understanding, then we would not be moving forward. So it is very important, and that opportunity has been created, and where the members are now part of a committee, the different boards, and they would get a notification, and we would be able to work in a specific time frame on the different parts that are lacking.
Thank you, Mrs. Alshot. I now turn the floor over to the Minister of Education, Minister Jorien Wuyter.
I wanted to go a little bit further in indeed the manner in that we structured indeed our collaboration resulting in the committee. The first step was indeed, as Mrs. Alshot emphasized, the development of a terms of reference for the committee evaluation of the teaching profession, and it was headed under the theme "Education is improving the lives of others and for leaving your community and world better than you found it." That served a little bit as inspiration, and indeed was the basis to consult about the key assignment of the committee. It has resulted in a ministerial administrative decision that I signed off on May 21st. And as I mentioned, it might be relevant to highlight the key tasks of the committee. And that is to evaluate the introduction of the 2008 bezoldigingsregeling voor onderwijspersoneel. 2, to re-evaluate and strengthen the position of the teaching profession in the community and on the labor market. 3, to identify and present scenarios to broaden career development possibilities in and outside of the field of education. 4, to identify and present financial growth opportunities for teachers who enter the education field at a young age and, as Ms. Alshot indeed emphasized, are stuck with the same salary scale after 20 years. To report on scenarios for workload reduction upon reaching the age of 60 plus, or alternative task function as that relates to the increase of the pension age towards 65. The committee consists of a variety of members, as we emphasized already, and to be specific, 1 representative of the Staff Bureau, who will be the chairperson, who I will hand it over to as well, 2 representatives of the WITU, 3 representatives of the school boards, 1 school manager, the UNESCO Secretary General, 1 representative of the Department of Education, and indeed also a representative of the Cabinet of the Minister. And as it will be a time horizon of 9 months, we have decided also that the products and the deliverables would go in phases, variety of phases. I'm not sure, Mrs. Afius, you may want to highlight those deliverables further, as I believe that Ms. Roach wanted to give you the floor and the opportunity.
Yes, thank you, Minister. Well, of course, I'm very honored to be appointed as a chair of this important committee for the teacher profession. The deliverables that have been where the committee has been tasked to is an evaluation report on the 2008 bezoldigingsregeling, a report on the position of the teaching profession in the community as well as in the labor market, the scenarios to broaden career development possibilities and financial growth opportunities for teachers and workload reductions, and also to draft a strategic marketing plan to raise the value of the teaching professions within the community and schools, and also present this, which will be done in collaboration with all the participants in the committee, and as indicated by Mrs. Claire Elshot, it is very important. I think that the proposals are being carried by all the stakeholders within the field of the education profession. Thank you. I give the floor to Minister Reuter.
Thank you. So with that, we were able to indeed, I believe, give the framework of this intention and the collaboration and agreements made, the critical players involved being the social partners, of course, and indeed the recently appointed chairperson as a representative and leader within the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport. We did suggest to break the two subjects into two parts, and would like to see if there would be any type of questions related to this part of the press conference before we move into the second part, which is related to the public school system.
Yes, thank you. One question. The advices from this committee, will they be binding?
I would hope that the makeup of the committee, as emphasized also by Mrs. Avius, are such that it will be intense consultation, because the committee consists of representatives of the ministry and also the school boards. So I'm sure that consensus will be reached, and we did not emphasize, however, that it is binding towards the minister. So we did not mention that per se in the ministerial administrative decision. But we do agree that, of course, consultations are such that if all partners tripartite come together, that the agreements and therefore the results and the advices and the recommendations are such that they're feasible to implement and follow through.
If I may add, Minister, I think as a union, when you address this, especially to go as far as a committee, you would want the advice to be then brought forward to the Council of Ministers and even to Parliament to make the amendments to the law, because the bezoldigingregeling of 2008 is a law. So you need then to have some amendments. So I wouldn't really use the word binding, but you would really need to see the effects going forward in a practical form, where you would have amendments to certain laws that are there in place already. And that will be our objective, and we will be very happy as a union once that can happen, once that can take place.
Thank you, Mrs. Elshot. And I'll turn the floor back over to the Minister to give a little elucidation on the strengthening and repositioning of public education.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. And as efficient and practical as we are, we indeed decided to highlight also some latest developments and progress made in this subject, as summarized as indeed the strengthening and the repositioning of the public education, which is a subject that is not new. It has been carried and has been discussed over the last 2-3 years, as the position of public education has been sometimes on the forefront, even in the media, and has been in conversations amongst various partners and participants and management of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport. It did result in 2 years ago in the establishment of a task force that was assigned to review various matters of reorganization of the ministry. One highlight indeed was related to the public schools, the position of the public schools, which has been an ongoing matter even in 2007 and 2008, when first initiatives thought to indeed position public schools as a foundation, but that was halted years ago as that was legally not feasible. But that means that the issue of and the relevance of indeed the position of public schools remained kind of like prevalent. And therefore concluded that a task force would be established and with an advisory capacity to the Council of Ministers and the Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport. One of the recommendations were carried and resulted in a specific committee tasked with the review of the public school system and the involvement of the SOAB with an audit that was performed in areas of the financial structure, the governance structure, the facility management, the quality of education, and also HR-related matters. Various recommendations were presented to previous Council of Ministers, and last year, in October 2017, it was supported to indeed follow through with the recommendations of that committee, and one element related to indeed the possibility to reposition public schools differently and in line with actually a possible position that the legislation, the current legislation, actually dictates or provided for. I'm happy that we made progress to this. The Secretary General of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport continued with the committee, and this resulted in a final advice. One, for instance, the need that we indeed had to secure additional support and a consultant and advisory capacity, and two, the importance to establish a project organization indeed to bring the repositioning and the strengthening of the public schools and the follow-through and the implementation therefore of the recommendations brought to fruition. Mr. Theo Telting, the consultant, has been selected through a process in which other potential consultants were proposed as well. And he indeed won the not formal bid, but at least a consultation indeed relevant due to his expertise, background in this educational system, and already acquaintance with the ministry as well. The project organization will have been also formalized through a ministerial decree with the establishment of a steering committee. And as I have the two present here on my right, and I'd like to avoid that I would do all the talk, of course, I may want to invite the Secretary General maybe to elucidate a little bit further about the components of the project organization. Essential is that it will be tasked, of course, with an advisory capacity to the Minister of Education as well, of how we will further and further conclude and implement the recommendations, as I said, that were carried last year in 2017. Mrs. Powell.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. In assuming this new responsibility as Acting Secretary General, I have also inherited some, I would say, interesting responsibilities, and that is one of being the chair of the steering committee that is actually part of the project organization. As well as besides the steering committee, we do have also a project team that has been established, consisting of civil servants who will, I would say, ably support the consultant as such. I do want to emphasize, however, something that is I believe that is very important, and that is the fact that in any process of change, there may be some type of uneasiness. And I believe that the process that we are going to be engaged in right now will allow that situation to be of, I would say, less sensitive, in the sense that transparency is important. And so it is our objective and our aim as the steering committee or the entire project organization as such to ensure that all stakeholders are adequately consulted, adequately heard, so that in the process of looking at the transformation as well as the improvement of the public education, that we would have allowed everyone to be heard. And I think that would also bring the sense of understanding the importance of the change. And so I would want to admonish, of course, if the Honourable Minister would allow me to do so, to all the stakeholders who will be consulted, that this process is simply for the improvement and the benefit of St. Martin as a society, and specifically our target group being the children who needs to get a proper education as such. So I'm looking forward to it. I must say I'm looking forward to this task, and ultimately that we do have a win-win situation for everyone, because education is important. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Powell. And for this process, we of course also ensured to have consulted with the WITU as a social partner, because any reorganization of the educational sector, especially of course also the public schools, require dialogue and consultations. And therefore we also agreed that the WITU would be a critical advisor in this process and the steering committee. And as indeed the Secretary General already mentioned, extensive consultations will take place on the way forward. But overall, in October 2017, it was indeed supported to establish the public school system as so-called, in Dutch they say, een publiekrechtelijk orgaan, as the ordinance for primary education, funderend onderwijs, emphasizes in Article 35 that if it's not the minister that functions as school board to the public school, it could then only happen through the establishment of a public orgaan, entity, and therefore not a private entity, therefore not a foundation, but a public entity, to ensure that the value of public education, and therefore supervised and guided by government, is maintained as a critical element of the identity of public education. And that is, I believe, something that I would like to highlight, and that may have been the flaw 15 years ago that did not materialize, and therefore it remained to be a public entity, but then it could indeed create a possibility for the public schools to have a school board as well, with the intention therefore to enhance the accountability, enhance the element of excellence and performance and the quality of education. Because as you can imagine, there might be moments in which a minister of education and for the entire educational sector, responsible for the entire educational sector, could be kind of in a difficult spot, being a school board of the public school simultaneously. That might be a tense situation, and that has always been the basis to consider whether other scenarios could be indeed valuable in the interest of public education, and indeed seen as a way to strengthen the way forward, and therefore then strengthen also and avoid that sensitivity that sometimes may be on the forefront as a minister that is responsible for all schools and all students, regardless. We hope to have provided that introduction. I would also like to see if there would be any type of questions related to the second part.
Yeah, if I may, one question. I'm sitting here, of course, thinking, how do you reposition a public school? And I was a bit flustered, I have to admit, and I understand now that part of it is organizational. But are there also practical things that you're looking at that are at the moment you think that could be better? Could you say something about that?
Various elements were highlighted. And I believe I've mentioned areas of facility management. I've mentioned areas related to the finances of public schools, related to the quality of education, related to HR matters. And we do believe the overall recommendation and the overall advancement will be the possibility to have an organizational structure that would work in favor of the key characteristics of a school. As you can imagine, we have had phases in which something as simple as purchasing of facility products for cleaning supplies has to go through a long process within the government. Mm-hmm. And then after months, and then what is the result? Sometimes indeed unhygienic circumstances of public spaces and entities, as an example. So being part of a governmental organization has as a consequence that you have to follow the order and the governance structure of a government. And that is not always in favor of schools that require direct lines and indeed quick actions necessary in the interest of safety, security, schooling and quality of schooling of students. And as we reviewed other alternatives as well, as we already said, a foundation is not an option, is the law doesn't permit. The public entity protects and serves the public character and the identity of public schools, but will work in the interest of the turnaround time and the efficiency in the interest of all areas. The fact, for instance, that if teachers will require possibilities to receive a gratification, a bonus, or teachers require a change of their contract, that also have to go through a very extensive, long procedure, reaching to indeed a minister in the authority to decide about indeed such a issue, such a case at hand for individual teachers. We have 270, no, a little less, 200 plus teachers in the public schools. You can imagine also that could have a negative impact on positive HR climates necessary in the interest of public schools and to indeed nurture and encourage excellence in schools. So overall, Mr. Haar, the overall benefit will be in the efficiency and the effectiveness to respond to the needs of students and schools and education.
Thank you, Minister Weitzer, for your comments. This brings us to the end of the press conference. Thank you for joining us. On behalf of the Department of Communication, I'm Relika Roach, and do have a pleasant day.